In today's video, I'm going to go over the topic and the trend that's been going around of why nobody wants to work and the truth behind it. So we already know that as of 2020, during the COVID pandemic, nobody wants to work. There's all these now hiring signs, all these open interviews, businesses shut down or have limited amount of hours. Here are some pictures I take when driving around town. So there's no need to explain or have an intro. We already know nobody wants to work. We already know there's now hiring signs everywhere, understaffed, and how all these companies are desperate for people and that they need to take all the help they can get. Some places are going as far as to raising the pay, going as far as to doing $50 open interviews like Burger King. Many are going as far as to like immediate hiring, like putting your foot in the door, like when I was bartending in Miami Beach. Literally, when I was bartending in Miami Beach after I got deactivated from Instacart, I had no bartending experience whatsoever. I went to this place down the street from where the building collapsed, and this chick I was walking the street with told me that this place was hiring and needed all the help they could get, including the bartender who was closing. I go in there, I ask for an application, and I said I had no bartending experience, but I know a couple cocktails. They were like, with a pen and paper, fill it out. And within a week, I get hired. But, of course, I got let go for not catching up because they're so understaffed. We'll get to that later. So, we're going to go over the reasons on why nobody wants to work. To continue the video, I had to take it outside because it's late at night and I don't want to be loud and wake anybody up. Unfortunately, it's raining, so that's why I have the umbrella with me. Plus, hey, being outside with an umbrella explaining a video makes me different from everybody else. So, reason number one, it's very obvious if you do it. You don't make enough money. We don't need to explain any further. We already know all these jobs pay like shit. Reason number two, they treat you like shit. They treat all their workers poorly. They treat them like numbers. They treat them like slaves. They basically treat them like garbage. And people are fed up with that. This isn't the Industrial Revolution, nor is it slavery. Times are changing. People are fed up being treated like shit. That's why nobody wants to work, including myself. I've been at 6 different jobs, same shit. Reason number three, their customers treat their staff like shit. Not only is it Karens, but it's also office workers that work 9 to 5 who hate their jobs and let out their frustrations on their workers. Back when I started out bagging groceries at Kroger's, I was treated like shit from mostly office workers or the fake rich who think they're better than everybody. The fake rich who think they're better than everybody treating these workers like shit is the big reason nobody wants to work. We're fed up with that too. Just because you hate your job and your life doesn't mean we have to suffer. Reason number four, they overwork you without a realistic break. If you're a server, busboy at a restaurant, you work yourself to death. And if you get caught eating a french fry that goes straight into the trash, they fire you on the dot. Now, some restaurants do give you free complimentary food, especially on your training days. But even then, if you are caught eating food that goes straight into the trash, they fire you. And paying employees low wages, overworking them, and treating them poorly is bad for capitalism and the economy as a whole. Because when an average worker does not have time and money to buy things, the economy would grind to a halt. Take a look around you. The economy fucking sucks and has for decades. And it's because greedy corporate companies pay their workers less than minimum wage or barely a livable wage. Reason number five, they actually don't need you as much as they beg they do. After this nobody wants to work thing has been going on, I have been to 3 different bars trying to get a bartending gig. And they keep saying they need people, even servers. And within the first week, they'll give you 30 hours. My third day, the trainer who was training me for serving was sent home on the 3rd hour because of corporate cost. And then I was sent to hosting with no help. And then I was given 12 hours the second week, and then 6 hours on my third. I just never came back. And it's because these companies are too cheap to hire enough people. I remember years ago, back in 2013, when I started out bagging groceries at Kroger's, they did the e-schedule and people were complaining about how they don't schedule enough people. And when I said something, I said, how come we never have enough people when there is a now hiring sign at the front doors and everywhere. And they said it's corporate. They cut everybody's hours so they can get more money. So the reason all these companies are understaffed and never have enough people is because corporates are greedy. Reason number 6. Their training and the way they run the place straight up sucks. They aren't with the times. As I explained earlier, they treat you like a number. They expect you to know everything on day 3. They only give you 5 minutes worth of time explaining everything and then run away. At the last place I bartended at, even after getting my bartending degree, they only gave me 5 minutes worth of time explaining something, then ran off, and in the middle of it, I didn't know what to do. I was panicking because even when I asked for help, I couldn't get help. I had to just forget about it and move on. So basically, the training is terrible. The way they run things is terrible. They're not with the times. With all these tech companies available, a few years ago, before the pandemic, there was this thing called the Band app, where it shows you tutorial videos on how to do this or do that without the manager or the person training you having to repeat the same thing like 30 times. And plus, they have group and public chats where you can tell the schedules or the announcements and tell who read it and when. Why these companies have not gotten with the times with the Band app, I don't know. It's why they're struggling to stay in business, because times are changing. Reason number 7. It's degrading work. As I mentioned in one of the reasons where the customers treat their staff like shit, it really feels degrading being a cashier, bagging groceries, stocking the shelves, especially if you're over the age of 25. I mean, I used to stock shelves and bag groceries, but I went out and got other jobs when I was 23, and at the age of 30 now, it feels a little degrading doing those jobs. I mean, those jobs were really meant for teenagers in high school, and even teenagers aren't settling for it because of all the reasons I explained. Reason number 8, they're going to be obsolete soon anyways. During the protest for $15 an hour for McDonald's workers in 2015, because it wasn't a livable wage, McDonald's response was adding self-checkouts. Of course, nobody uses them, and when health inspectors come in, they find fecal matter all over the screens. But to get to the point, many of these jobs that nobody wants to work at are being replaced by machines and tech companies anyways. So people are kind of just not wanting to work for these anymore, considering that there's threats of them being obsolete anyways. Reason number 9, they have all of these nonsense entry levels and experience required for a job that doesn't even pay a livable wage, or what didn't even need that stuff to begin with. There are jobs out there that require a bachelor's degree, college degree, or whatever degree, trade school, college, 5 years of experience, references, 5 different jobs, all that stuff. And let's be honest, a third of the people don't have those kind of requirements, even at the age of 30, like me. And even then, I don't want to waste my time going to an expensive education that doesn't even get me a job in the end. But that's another story. So they have all these requirements and all that, and none of these people are qualified, and then they go online and complain about how nobody wants to work. Now, I'm speaking from experience. I have been at over 6 different jobs in the past 7 years. I started out working at Kroger's 10 years ago. Then after a few years, I wanted to move on. Then I went to a car dealer at Toyota as a valet, where the learning began, and learning how to drive stick shift. Then I realized it's better at Kroger's, so I go back, and then I got promoted to stocking the shelves. Then I left because, as I said, all of the other reasons. Wasn't paid enough, didn't get a raise, didn't get a promotion, lied to, treated like shit, customer treated me like shit, so on and so forth. Then I went to Target as a flexible fulfillment center, basically like Amazon's version of it. Then I left because they lied to me about full time. Went from 40 hours to 5 after New Year's. So I left. Then I went to DHL, which I call DH Hell. Nobody notices the difference when you say it. Then I left DHL because it was basically communism. It was the closest thing I've ever experienced to communism, where you're paid like shit, treated like shit, working in hostile areas in hot or cold, and your life is at risk every day, and at the end of the day, you don't even get paid enough to rent an apartment in the area. And even if you're a lead, which only pays a couple dollars extra, it's still not a livable wage. It was the closest thing to communism I have ever experienced, and that wasn't even the worst of it. Then, I got with the times and started working for big tech, which was Instacart. That's when my traveling life began. Traveling around the Southwest, living in San Diego, traveling to San Francisco and back, Colorado, Miami, before I got deactivated. Now I'm with DoorDash here and there. And now I'm trying out bartending, which really isn't working out so far. And my goal is to start my own company. It's really not raining that badly. So anyway, those were my reasons and experiences and articles I read online on why nobody wants to work. I tried making this as short and simple to the point as I could. I hope this video was resourceful and helpful, especially to the companies that are always complaining about how nobody wants to work and aren't getting any help. Peace.